Are you fed up with all the bickering in politics and negative campaigns? This video shows you how to use the wise debate method for political discussions, so we can replace political arguments and rhetoric with problem solving, and so we can tell which politicians are worthy of our votes because they use it skillfully. There are 4 steps to wise debate. First, each side proposes what they want to do about a problem. Second, each side predicts positive and negative things they think would happen if each proposal is used. Third, each side gives evidence that proves why their predictions would come true. And fourth, both sides problem solve by using the evidence to pick a proposal or create a new one. Let's use same-sex marriage as an example. First, each side proposes what they want to do. One side wants to legalize same-sex unions and allow couples the rights and responsibilities of marriage. The other side wants to disallow them by defining marriage as only between opposite sexes. We need fairly specific proposals to compare ideas when debating, and to know what a voter needs to know most about candidates, what they will do if elected. However, instead of specific proposals, debaters and candidates often give broad goals or vague promises that sound kind of good, or they attack their opponent's past or character or their opponent's proposals, but don't give alternatives. Techniques like these are designed to arouse your emotions, but when you're emotional, it's harder to think logically. Don't fall for that. Step 2. Each side gives specific positive and negative predictions about using each proposal. That's right. A wise debater or candidate sees all sides to an issue, so they should be able to speak to the pros and cons of each proposal. And it's important that reasoning be discussed as specific predictions, because this limits the tons of ways politicians use your emotions to persuade you. Here are some common reasons for and against these 2 proposals. Which ones are specific predictions? You can tell if they say who will do what, and if possible, how. This one says who does what, but with these 3, you need to change the abstract nouns into the verbs and say who is taking the action. So for this one, who would value what about families less if same-sex marriage were legal? One possible prediction is, people in general will think it's less important having parents of both sexes to raise children. How about this one? Who would be free to do what according to their religious beliefs? One foreseeable answer is, ministers would be free to decline doing a marriage ceremony for same-sex couples. If these don't sound like such a great family value or religious freedom, that's because being specific often frees you from the emotional hook of abstract nouns and helps you to think more logically. Okay, let's put in a specific prediction here for discrimination and make room for step 3. Each side gives evidence to prove why they think each prediction will come true. How do we know same-sex couples would feel this way, or people would start thinking this way? Is there research? And do we think all couples and people would do so? Actually, there is research that says that kids raised by same-sex parents don't fare any worse than kids in traditional families, so this need not be a concern. With this proposal, ministers would be free to refuse marriage without legal penalties, but is that a good thing? Who would start doing what that it's good? As you can see, in the prove step, you use current data or gather missing data to figure out which predictions are likely, accurate, clear, or important. Many times, there is no data to support predictions, making your predictions no better than anyone else's. So it makes no sense to stick to your position and keep pushing it, like many politicians do. But even without data, it's good for both sides to share what's proven to them that their predictions would come true, because that helps us to understand that people do have reasons for thinking and feeling as they do. They're not literally unreasonable. All right, we have specific proposals, specific predictions saying who does what, and whatever evidence we can get. In step 4, both sides problem solve by using the evidence to pick a proposal or create a new one. In some cases, the data may clearly point to one proposal, but often it's best to create a new proposal that gets as many of the positives and avoids as many of the negatives as possible. So, how can we enable same-sex couples to have a partnership that's legally recognized and disallows various kinds of discrimination, and it doesn't force objecting ministers to marry them? Allows same-sex civil unions, for example. Now, real debates often have several reasons for and against each proposal, but it's still important to try to get the positives and address the negatives of each side. Why? If one side wins a vote, but the other side doesn't feel heard, when the outvoted side gets a majority, they'll work to undo the decision, and we'll just keep going back and forth. And why does that happen? Because the positive predictions are our hopes for making things better, and the negatives are the pain or fears we want to avoid. Campaigns and debates can't be about winning for only your side, because the other side will still chase their hopes and fight against what pains them. In wise debate, wisdom is about having a broad view, so we can address the hopes and pain of as many affected people as possible. So, how can you promote good political discussion? Be a role model. Use the wise debate approach yourself. Request that a wise debate chart show what participants say during political discussions, debates, or public forums. That could help us stop discussions that are emotion-based or off-point. Ask questions like these to help candidates and debaters use the 4 wise debate steps. And finally, vote for candidates whose speeches, debates, and campaign ads show that they address the concerns of both sides to issues, not just their own parties. They work for all of us.